Yesterday we looked at some dimensional analysis where we were converting units that were really similar. And they were pretty simple kind of conversions. We talked about step by step how to do that. We'll look at just a few more examples of how to do that today. So in the first example we'd like to look at, we're converting 45 feet per minute to yards per hour. Now, the thing about it is 45 feet per minute, it's no longer just a unit. That's what we call a rate. It's, in fact, a unit rate. Feet per minute, 45 feet per 1 minute. It's really using two different measurements. One is feet, the measurement of distance. The other is minutes, the measurement of time. And we want to convert that to yards per hour. Again, yards being some kind of distance, hour being time. So we want to know where we start at and where we're going to. So I want to write down, first of all, we're trying to get from feet per minute to yards per hour. Now, in order to do that, we need some conversion factors, and the first conversion factor we're going to need is feet to yards. Okay, we got to, convert units that are in the same classification. So feet and yards, those are both measurements of distance. So we know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. Well, that gets us from feet to yard, and we now want to go from minutes to hours. Well, we know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So I've got to think probably the 2 conversion factors I'm going to need. And so, since I think I do, I'll write down the 45 feet. And I'm going to write as a fraction as I did yesterday, but now instead of just over 1, it's 45 feet per 1 minute. So I need to use a conversion factor. Well, I think I want to handle the distance first, the feet. And remember from yesterday, if you remember our talking about it, we're going to use the conversion factor to cancel out the feet in the numerator. To do so, we've got to put feet in the denominator of our conversion factor. So I'm going to put 3 feet here in the denominator. And then 1 yard in the numerator. Okay? That'll be good because in a moment I'll be able to cancel out the feet. Now this is where it's a little different from what we looked at yesterday. We're trying to go from minutes to hours, and so I need to cancel out now the minutes that's in the denominator. The way I'm going to do that is use this conversion factor of 60 minutes equal 1 hour, but now I'm going to put the minutes in the numerator instead of the denominator because I want this minute to cancel with that minute. But as long as I know what I'm doing and I'm trying just to cancel units, then I just place and turn it. I can flip that conversion factor over however I need to. All right, so having done that, I'm to the point now where I can do my favorite part, which is the part where I cancel. So I can cancel feet for feet. I can cancel minutes for minutes. And I'm left with yards per being fraction bar, over hour. All right, that works. So I need to multiply 45 times 1 times 60. Well, to do that, probably need some kind of a calculator. So 45 times 60, That's 2,700. I'll put that in the numerator. I'll cancel feet, minutes. I'm left with yards, which is what I want to have. Over 1 times 3 times 1, I can do that in my head. So that's 3. Minutes, feet's canceled. I'm left with hour. So the last thing I need to do is simplify that to a unit rate, because that's 2,700 yards per 3 hours. Well, that's not simplified. I just need to divide 2,700 by 3. So 2,700 divided, the fraction bar means division, as well as the per and like yards per hour. So it is 900 yards per hour. So 45 feet per minute equals 900 yards per hour. Any question? All right, well, let's look at another example. In this example, we're going to convert 26 miles per hour to feet per second. Well, we know we're going from miles per hour to feet per second. Okay, and I need some conversion factors. Well, I know from hours to seconds, I know there's a couple I'm going to need there. For one, I know in 1 hour, I don't know how many seconds there are, but I know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. And I know in a minute, there is 60 seconds. So I've taken care of this conversion here in the denominator, going from hours to seconds, and that unit, or that unit of time. But let's go back to the unit of distance here. Miles per feet. Okay, so it'd be nice if I knew how many feet were in a mile. And by far the easiest way to do that is to Google it. Some people might have that memorized. I actually do have it memorized, but let's say, for example, you don't have it memorized. Well, it's actually a very common search in Google. Okay, here's what you do. You just type in how many feet in a mile. And actually, if you type how many F-E-E-T, and it'll probably complete it for you in a mile, and you can click on it, and it'll tell you what the number of feet there in a mile. So in 1 mile, there's 5,280 feet. There's a conversion factor for me. So in 1 mile, there's 5,280 feet. So I think I've got all the conversion factors I need for this problem. So it's 26 miles per 1 hour. Now, remember, I wrote a fraction before, but since this is a unit rate, I'm going to write 26 miles over 1 hour. And I begin my math problem. Well, the first thing I would want to do, probably, I kind of tend to do things the same way. I'm going to cancel the miles there. In order to do that, I'm going to have to use a conversion factor. And to get the miles to cancel, since miles is in the numerator, I'm going to have to put miles in the denominator. So there is 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So I've got my first conversion factor set up. All right, so then I need a second conversion factor, and I need to deal with the feet. Now, I'm trying to go from, not the feet, excuse me. I'm trying to get rid of the hours here, my time. I'm going to take care of my feet and my distance. That's all I'll take care of. So what I really want to take care of now is converting from hours to seconds. But I can't just jump from hours to seconds. So I'm probably going to need 1 hour equals 60 minutes as my first conversion. And again, it's a little different here. The hour's in the denominator, so I'm going to need to put the hour in my numerator. And 1 hour equals 60 minutes. All right, that's going to work. Hours will cancel from numerator to denominator. Left 60 minutes in the bottom. And so I've taken care of my 1 hour 60 minutes. Now I need to get my minutes down to seconds. And so to do that, I'm going to have to use this conversion factor where I put 1 minute in the numerator. So that'll cancel, and then 60 seconds in the denominator. If I set all my conversion factors up, I end up with the unit I need in the denominator and the unit I need in the numerator. I need to get to feet per second. So I need to have it so that when I cancel everything else, I have a foot in the numerator and a second in the denominator. So let's do the fun part, the canceling part. Only going to cancel units, miles for miles. Okay, those two will cancel. Okay, minutes will cancel with minutes. That's pretty cool. And then I've got an hour here, and we'll cancel with an hour there. Nothing's left to cancel. I have what I want, feet over minutes. So 26 times 5,280. Well, chances are I need a calculator for that. So I'm just going to put in there 5,280 times 26. And times 1, that's easy. So I get 137,280. Well, that's pretty cool. And I've canceled miles, hours, minutes, and I'm left with feet, which is what's my goal. Now, I multiply 1 times 1 times 60 times 60. Well, 60 times 60 is 3,600. I've canceled hour, miles, minutes. I'm left with seconds. So I'll take 137,280, divide that by 3,600, and I'll get a number that looks like this, 38.13. On your homework tonight, I believe it's going to tell you to round to the nearest hundredth. Well, if you round to the nearest hundredth, then this 3 is the tenths place. Excuse me, this 3 is the hundredths place. So this is the tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So 2 decimal places is the hundredths place. I'm going to look to the right of the green pen. That's a 3. If it's 4 or less, I know I just leave it alone. So I'll round that to be 38.13 feet. And because I took the 137,280 and divided it by 3,600, then I'm left with just a 1 in my denominator, because effectively I've divided both by 3,600. That's why when I find a unit rate, I'm just going to use this as this fraction bar as a division problem and divide those two, and that'll always leave me with a unit rate with 1 in the denominator, and it'll sort of be feet per second like that. So I could write it another way I could just say, well, it's 38.13 feet per second. That's writing that ratio in words. And so to summarize what I've done, I've converted 26 miles per hour, and that equals 38.13 feet per second. All right, so I want to look at just one more example before we look at the homework. This one is a little bit different because now we're going to convert not only two different rates, we're also going to convert from the metric system to the customary system of inches and miles. So for this last example, we want to convert 36 centimeters per second to miles per hour. Well, I'm going from centimeters per second to miles per hour. So I need some conversion factors. Let's take care of the time one first. We know there are 60 seconds in 1 minute, and 60 minutes in 1 hour. So we've gone from seconds to hours. Then I'm going to go from centimeters to miles. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is go from centimeters to inches. So I could say, well, do a Google search. It's going to tell me 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. That is 1 inch. And then I'm in inches now, so I've got to go from inches to feet. So 12 inches equals 1 foot. And from the previous problem, I remember that 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. Again, when I'm looking for conversion factors, just Google it. So it's 36 centimeters per 1 second. Write that as a fraction. I'll deal with getting rid of the centimeters first. So I'm looking for my conversion factor that has centimeters, and that would be that 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters, so 2.54 centimeters will go in the denominator, so they'll cancel. 1 inch on top. Now I need to get rid of the 1 inch, so I'll use 12 inches equal 1 foot. So 12 inches goes in the denominator, so those will cancel. 1 foot here. Now I need to get rid of the feet. And I can use 5,280 feet equals 1 mile. And the miles in the numerator is where I want it to be. So that looks good. And I've used this one, this one, this one. Awesome. I'll cancel centimeters for centimeters, inches for inches, and feet for feet. So I've dealt with that issue of distance that's in the numerator. Now I need to work with what's in my denominator in seconds and get that to hours. Well, I've got a conversion factor that's got 60 seconds. So I'll put that in the numerator. 60 seconds equals 1 minute. And then I've got the conversion factor where 60 minutes equals 1 hour. All right, so I've used all my conversion factors up, and I need to cancel this second here with this second, and that minute with that minute. So when I multiply across, it's 36 times 60 times 60. So 36 times 60 times 60, 129,600. Miles. Over now, looking at what I have left here, I've got 1 times 2.54, that's just 2.54. So 2.54 times 12 times 5,280 times 1 times 1. And I'll get 160,934.4, and that is hours. Now that's not much of a unit rate because 129,600 miles per 160,934.4 hours doesn't tell us much. It's not a unit rate, is it? So all we have to do is take the 129,600, divide it by 160,934.4. And what we'll get will be the rate we're looking for. So 129,600 divided by 160,934.4. I think I left something out. Let's try it again. 129,600 divided by 160,934.4. And so I'm going to get 0.80, and remember, I'm rounding to the hundredths place. That's the second decimal place. So that 5 tells me to round up. So it's not 0.80, but it's going to be 0.801. So my answer is 0.81 miles per hour. So 36 centimeters per second converts to be 0.81 miles per hour. A problem that I wouldn't see that answer at all and would find it very difficult without some method, and that method is dimensional analysis. So that's how you use dimensional analysis to convert rates and make conversion of units.